received quite a few comments over the last couple months. Hey Matt, when can I buy those objection handling cards you use in your day in the life videos? Well, hopefully by the time you watch it, you can buy it. Within the next 30 days of watching this video, these will be live, so keep checking the video description to purchase them. These are my objection handling cards that I use at the start of every single day to get ready for any sort of objection I might get that day from prospect, whether it's a cold call objection, a stalling objection, a pricing objection, a closing objection. We made a cold call index card for how to handle it. So it comes in this nice box here. As you can see, we have the objection on one side and how to handle it on the other. So hopefully, if you purchase these help you out. I think it's the best way to start your day as a salesperson. Just wrapped up our sales meeting, and sales meetings in Q4 can be very interesting because what happens in Q4 is second and third line managers put undue pressure on direct managers who put undue pressure on reps who then put undue pressure on prospects to get deals closed by the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, to abide by this arbitrary deadline that comes down from Wall Street, who tells these companies, hey, we need to see this number in your revenue column in order for your stock to go up. If we don't, it's going to go down. And then all these second and third line managers, because they have a lot of stock options, go down. It's completely ridiculous, guys. And I have zero patience for the short-sightedness of sales leadership. I've gotten good over the last couple years. If a second and third line manager who hasn't closed a deal in years comes to me on Slack, and I've never met them before, asking if we could close this deal by the end of the quarter, no, we can't. Well, it doesn't sound like, Matt, you created enough urgency in the deal and identified enough pain. No, I have, but this is not when they're going to buy, because I asked the question at the start of the sales process. Hey, Chris, if we prove you the right solution for this project, I want to match your urgency here. When is the absolute latest you would want this implemented and deployed? That way, everything I put in Salesforce is accurate. I have no BS in Salesforce. That's why my sales pipeline looks a lot less than everybody else's, because if I don't have a next meeting on the books, that deal is probably not going to get closed. And I don't want to have conversations with second and third line managers who are saying, hey, Matt, why is this deal not coming in, when I know for a fact it has no chance to close. But guys, sorry for the rant. Just Q4, it's just some stupid arbitrary deadline that salespeople are put against, who then put undue pressure on prospects that could lose a deal. Just got done a discovery call with a potential prospect. The call went well. I wanted to share with you guys one of the best questions I've learned over the last probably 18 to 24 months that really opens up the prospect and gives me a lot of detail on my discovery calls. Chris, I have to imagine at some point you and your team had a meeting to discuss the problem, define the problem, and agreed to take action to solve it. What did that meeting sound like? That question is perfectly worded, perfectly crafted. I get so much detail after asking that question. I typically ask that question after I uncover a problem, but don't get a lot of detail back from the prospect. So I'm going to get more detail. I'm going to understand impact, who's impacted throughout the organization. That is one of the best questions. Another great question to ask, I'm going to hop on a call in a couple minutes here, and it's with a prospect I've met with several times in a pilot. I start every call the same way with the same exact question if it's a prospect I've met with in the past, they're in a current sales cycle. Chris, before we get rolling, curious, what's changed since we last spoke? And the reason I ask that question to start off any call that's in a current sales cycle that I met with previously is things change. People change roles, priorities change, new challenges pop up as they're testing a product, budgets change. And I need to know that anywhere in the sales cycle. So most of the time they'll come back and they'll say, Matt, nothing's changed. But every once in a while, something's changed that could potentially impact my product, my project, and more importantly, the timeline I'm expecting them to buy on. For the next hour, I'm doing some prospecting. It's not cold prospecting per se. I'm gonna be prospecting into current customers who use my product, because it's much easier to get meetings that way, to try to sell them an integration that just went live within the product I sell. And this integration, guys, I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be big for me and the rest of the sales team. It's gonna help us all blow out our number in 2025. Not this year because it just came out and it's already October, we're already in Q4, but next year it's gonna be a game changer for us. So I'm gonna be sending emails and making phone calls to current customers who I've met with in the past to try to set up meetings to sell them this feature. What you're looking at on the screen here is the cold email or warm email I am sending them. And a couple things to point out here. There is not one I in this email, because I is me focused, seller focused, not prospect focused. They don't care about I, they care about them. And it's all about a problem they could potentially have by telling a story of another current customer of my product who was using this feature to help against some sort of cyber attack. It's less than 150 words, so it's short. They could read it pretty quickly. There's no large chunks of text, which is important. As you can see, every statement or sentence is one line. That is key. And it ends with an interest-based call to action, interest-based CTA. Most folks don't end their cold emails or warm emails with an interest-based CTA. They end it with a specific CTA. Can you meet next Tuesday or Wednesday at 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. to talk about this new feature? Interest-based CTAs increase your open rates and your response rates, not open rates, response rates on your cold emails. So I want to encourage you guys, if you're sending cold emails to prospects, use an interest-based CTA. Please do not use a specific CTA. Once you get interest, then at that point, you could throw out a specific CTA.
Oh no, am I interrupting a video?
Timmy!
What's up, Matt McMahon?
This is what do we call you? Big Papa Commission?
Big Papa Commission.
He makes sure all of our commission checks
Head of the
right.
union.
Oh, what are those? What are those?
We got some vanilla wafers and iced coffee.
You gonna dip them?
Maybe.
But no, Tim is Papa Commish. He does make sure you saved the entire sales team.
Correct.
Thousands of dollars in commissions.
Correct. Head of the sales union.
Tim for president. My twin brother John got married last week. The wedding was amazing. I had probably the best time out of everybody. There was 250 people at the wedding, and right before the ceremony, we were about to walk out, I was pacing around. I was getting nervous because I was going to have to deliver my best man speech in an hour after the cocktail hour. And my buddy walked over to me and he said, "Hey, Matt, I could tell you're a little bit nervous." And I said, "Yeah, I just want it to go well." He said, "Matt, you do this for a living. You do a lot of public speaking. You do it for a living." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, look at it this way. All you're doing is you're selling the room on how amazing your brother is." And I'm like, you know what? That's a great way to think about it. When I started thinking about it like that, my nerves completely faded. The speech went amazing.
Since Anna has come in the picture, I have been replaced. And I think there's a few people in here tonight, maybe more than a few, and maybe even Ann, that thinks I'm bitter, I'm sad about this. And I might be a little bit, but I'm okay with it. Because since John met Ann, fell in love with Ann, and now married Ann, he's never been vulgar, we can say that.
I wasn't nervous whatsoever, and nerves. I want to talk about nerves for a second because I get nervous before every single sales call, guys, and I've done 500, 600 of these sales calls, discovery calls, demos over the last couple years. I used to view nerves in a negative light. Like, oh my God, like the nerves are taking over, I'm not going to do well. I completely reverse that because when you're nervous, and I hope this helps you guys out, when you're nervous, I know this helps me, I view those nerves positively because number one, it means I care about what I'm about to do. If I wasn't nervous before the speech, it probably means I don't really care about my brother and that speech all that much. And number two, it locks me in. It locks me in. It locks me into my cold calls because I get nervous before every cold call. It locks me into my discovery call. So start viewing nerves that way. But the wedding was absolutely amazing, and I thought the speech went pretty good. Just wrapped up a customer demo. Quick demo tip for you guys. The two of the worst questions of all time that most salespeople ask when demoing their product or service. What questions do you have? Does this make sense? They are awful questions. They add nothing to the conversation. Instead, after you demo a feature in your product, to what extent is this resonating so far? To what degree do you find that useful? Where do you want to go deeper with questions? How does this compare to what you're doing today? How does this compare to what you were expecting? Those questions will add more to the conversation, get more details out of the prospect, and confirm that you're on the right track demoing your product. Also, after a demo conversation, I send a recap email. The recap email I send, I'm either using one of these two templates. Usually I'm using option number one more than option number two. But as you can see here, these templates are short, they're sweet, I'm not putting huge paragraphs in there. I'm not putting lots of links in there, attachments, really short, sweet email that shows the prospect I was actively listening. I understand what their pain points are, how I could solve their pain points, and most importantly, what the next step is in the process. All right, day is wrapped up. Just get off the train. I want to leave everybody with this. This really helped me out. I used to think that the goal of a salesperson was to get somebody to buy. And because of that, that dictated the language I used, my actions, how I ran sales calls. When I made this switch from it's my job to get somebody to buy to it's my job as a salesperson to get somebody to decide, not buy, to decide, make a yes or no decision, and a no is okay, that's when everything started to change for me and I started to hit my quota. So I hope that helps you guys out. I know it helped me out a couple years ago and I heard it from, I think it was Alex Hermosi. Decide, not buy. That is our goal.